Welcome to episode 1 of the Parasite podcasts with me, Daniel Lay, the managing director of the Eminent Group. Today we're going to be talking about all things Eminent, how it all started, how everything led into what we are now, and everything in between. And today I've got a special guest, our very own commercial director, Megan Smith. How are you, Meg? You all right?
I'm good, but I do feel like I need to disclose straight away. I've got no makeup on, so I've just had a facial. So a bit of a faux pas on my behalf, but I'm not allowed to wear makeup for 24 hours, so I don't normally look like this.
Okay.
I normally look a bit better.
So you're just putting it out there straight away, are you?
Yeah, first episode and all that, I thought, people might want to tune
You've
off.
done things a bit backwards, getting a facial before, an hour before you come on.
Stay tuned to episode 2. I'll look better then. I'll look cute.
How was your weekend?
Oh, it was, it was okay. A bit messy, but cute.
A bit messy.
Fun.
Do you remember calling me at 11:30 at night?
No, not really. What was I doing?
Yeah, all things Eminent.
Oh, was I talking about Eminent?
Yeah, talking about
So
Eminent.
we never stop?
I know, it never stops. It never stops, to be fair. 24. It's a lifestyle. It's not a job that we've kind of figured it out.
I'm so embarrassed.
I know. So listen, we're going to start off. The reason for the podcast is a lot of people ask us, well, a lot of people ask me the same questions. How did Eminent start? Where we've come from and how I made the transition from working on the tools as a tradesman right through to owning the company. Okay. And obviously getting yourself involved and everything in between. Now, obviously, you know quite a bit of the story, but you don't know all of it. And a lot of people around the business know the story, but they don't know the full ins and outs.
Yeah.
So I thought it'd be easier to do a podcast. We'll go through it all, explain it all, and then it's out and everyone knows
the real truth.
The real truth of the Eminent Group. But before we talk Eminent, let's talk about MGS, Megan Grace Smith.
Here we are. Hello, what do you want to know?
Well, first of all, I must congratulate you.
Why? What have I done?
You are one of the one of the youngest female commercial directors in engineering.
I am. So I argue the youngest.
Round of applause for our Meg for that.
Oh shit, thanks.
It's quite an accolade, to be fair.
It is. It's I'm very proud of it. But like you said earlier, it's a lifestyle, isn't it? So
it is.
It doesn't switch off. I do ring you at 11:30, usually to talk about work. But I feel like
on Saturday night it wasn't about work. Basically, I had you, Sophia, accounts
what were we doing?
Locked in a toilet, laddered, trying to get someone a job interviews dressed up as Sharon Osbourne.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, you had you dressed up as Sloth from the Goonies.
That was my.
I had Sophie dressed up as a spliff.
Yeah.
And I had Sharon Osbourne in a red wig asking for a job. Now,
I gave her a job. She's actually coming in on Thursday.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So we found out who the real boss of Eminent is. I don't even hire my own staff anymore.
Yeah, she's coming in on Thursday for a little job interview. She was lovely.
She seemed nice. All she kept saying to me was, I look better, with blonde hair.
She did, yeah, she does. She's a woman who can do both.
Perfect.
So...
Okay, well, let's start with the very beginning. Let's talk about Meg at school. Now, I think somewhere knocking around the studio, we have a picture of you.
Oh, you can get lost.
We do.
No.
It's coming up on the screen now.
Where have you got that? Where did you get that from?
Megan in school days.
Right.
Now, I've got to ask, how old was you there?
So, for fuck's sake.
That is a glorious picture.
Where did you get that from?
I can't tell you.
Anywho, I was actually really popular at school. I know it probably...
Was you, yeah? Well,
no, it doesn't look like it there, but I was in year 7 then, so proper
year 7,
fresh.
So you start of senior school as it is?
It's fresh AF, no braces.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on in that picture.
There's quite a lot, to be fair. There is quite a lot, and the extraordinary length of the thumbs as well, which we should comment. That's a
I think I've grown into them.
You've grown into your thumbs.
Sick.
You've grown into your thumbs quite well.
Yeah, it's the Paul's Boutique handbag for me. That's on the left-hand corner. That was cute. That was a staple.
I think everyone at a point had a Paul's Boutique. I think, especially in Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean...
You weren't from Liverpool.
I wasn't from Liverpool. Do you know what? I think that probably, sums up how I took school, because I didn't take it very seriously at all, which I think people are surprised about, but I hated school.
Did you hate school?
I couldn't stand it.
For what reason? Just rules and regulations? Or
No, I didn't mind the rules so much. I hated getting up, which... As I hate getting up now.
You struggle getting in the office at 8 o'clock as it is, so that's not hard to believe.
What else didn't I like? I just didn't like... For me, from a really young age, all I wanted to do was spend my time earning money, which sounds a bit crazy, but I wasn't bothered about it. I remember being in a maths lesson once and I was getting D's in maths. I was awful at maths. And then I fancied my maths teacher, so I actually passed with an A star. Go me. But I can't stop looking at that picture. But
you might have to take that picture down now just to get a concentration back.
I remember being in school and being like, when am I ever going to need to know, like,
algebra,
Pythagoras theorem? Like, when is that ever going to come into my day-to-day life? And everything I did, I just used to think this is pointless. I could be out earning money somewhere. So I hated it, but I'm one of 3 girls and I was the smartest. Sorry, Maddie and Macy, but I was. So I had to like fly the flag somehow. So I stuck with it. I did okay at GCSEs. I come out with loads, to be fair.
What subjects did you pick? Were they any relevant to what you're doing now in life, or are they completely...
Well, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer for a long time, which is a bit weird. So I did, when in my GCSEs, I think I did, I don't know what you could choose. I did history, I did French, I did geography, a bit weird, but like, they were the best, best out of the bunch. And then when I went to do A-levels at sixth form, I did maths, English, history and law. Okay. And that's just when I really thought, scrap this. This isn't for me.
My best grade in school, I was bad at school, to be fair. Like, I'll touch on it a bit more and we'll go into the thing. But I was terrible at school. Concentration levels were at all-time low. If something didn't interest me, I couldn't focus, to be fair. Yeah. I think the highest grade I got was a D, and that was in cookery.
You got a...
Victoria Sponge was me, signature dish.
How do you only get a D in a Vicky Sponge? What's going on?
I don't know, that was quite high for me, to be fair, a D. I think, what was it, a C? I can't remember. But
I feel like portray it as a C. You got a C.
Did I get a C?
Yeah, you did.
It might have been a C. But yeah, in school, for me, it was an absolute nightmare. If any of my teachers are watching here now, and they're looking and thinking, I used to teach that gobshite.
Well, do you know, it's so funny because I was awful at sixth form. Like, when you're like 16 to 18, you're meant to be taking life seriously. And I actually, for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but I've got my head of sixth form on Facebook, and she was messaging me a couple of months ago and was like, oh my God, I can't believe how well you're doing, because you used to literally make me cry. And I was like, oh shit. I remember once, like, I just hated it. I got no mojo. I think my attendance in sixth form, which is like meant to be the most important days of your life, was like 24%. And I remember once I was meant to have like lessons all day and I just couldn't be bothered. So she got like an office, and I went to sleep in her office, like on this sofa, and she come in and she was like tapping away at a keyboard. And I actually was like, I had the audacity to be like, can you stop typing so loud, please? As I meant to be in a lesson, she's trying to work and I'm like, shut up. So I hated it, but I feel like I was really pressured, especially in that environment, to go to university. And as I said again, I had to fly the flag for the Smith girls because somebody had to do it.
See, the university thing in our family, we've got a big family. I've got a lot of cousins. Yeah. I've got, a lot of them have gone to university. My sister, she was doing acting and theatrical stuff, and I've got younger cousins who've all gone through the university thing. For me, that just weren't an option.
Well, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but I actually never fully finished my degree.
Didn't you?
No. So
you didn't tell me that when I was hiring you.
Probably didn't. Anywho, but on a serious, so we touched on it earlier, but I'm not from Liverpool, obviously. I wish I was.
Where are you from? Cannock? Is it classed as Cannock?
It is, but I like to say like Stafford, so it doesn't sound as bad. But yeah, I'm from the Midlands, and I moved here when I was 18. I obviously moved for uni. But
is that what you moved for? Was it for university?
Yeah, but my boyfriend at the time that I've been with for years had also moved the year before, and I'd never been to Liverpool before, but then he moved, and I literally used to, and again, this is why my attendance at sixth form was so bad, because I used to like finish work on a Sunday at say 4:00, 4:30, and I used to get straight on a train to Liverpool, and I used to probably stay in Liverpool till like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then maybe go to...
Yeah. What was your class as your first job as such, where you got paid? What was your first one?
So my first actual real job was, I worked in and this makes me cringe because I would never do this now, but I was so destined to get money. I used to work in a pub and I used to wash all the plates and stuff.
Perfect.
I feel like it would have just been like more cost effective for them to get a dishwasher, like, that you actually load, and it probably would have done
the Meg 3000.
Yeah, it would have done a better job than me, because literally I was like this, holding the plate.
I've seen the way you leave our kitchen sometimes.
Exactly.
And you don't clean plates very well, to be fair.
So yeah, what was your first job? I don't know that.
My very first job. So obviously, I don't want to go into too much because we're going to touch on it in a minute, but my very, very first job was helping the milkman. So basically, the milkman there's a fella called Tony, he lived next door but two, and he basically, in the summer, he used to say, listen, I've got to go around and collect the money. So all the people that had the milk delivered through the week, you go and collect the money.
Olden days.
In the olden days. Basically not black and white, I'm only 36, don't get cheeky. But yeah, he used to say to me, come and give me a hand, and we'll go knock on people's doors, and they obviously give us the money. Now, in the winter, it was fine because I had really nothing else to do. But at that time, I was doing like a lot of like kickboxing and football and stuff like that. So the summer was a drag for me. But I kind of learned quick it was easy money.
Yeah.
It was £10 and I'd done the Friday night and the Saturday night. But it was like 5, 6 o'clock right through till 9.
Oh, social time.
It was social time. But I quite liked it, because I am quite outgoing.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've got a little niche here because I can flirt with all the old ladies, getting the milk and stuff.
I thought you were going to say because you were like a bit of a bouncer, like knocking like a bailiff.
No, they used to love me. I used to have all my little favourites just knocking, come in, love out. And it was like £2 or £3 in, they give you like 50p tip, and I keep the change.
Cheers, Beryl.
Cheers, Beryl and Sandy and all the other girls. But it started in a bit of a rough area, you see. So we went from like Anfield right through to Kensington and then back round. About 3 hours. But I loved it because it was being out, talking to people, and I was earning money.
Yeah.
And fair play to the fella, like he used to get me a chippy, gravy and chips at the end. That was my bonus. So I had my tea and I also got some wages.
That's sick, that.
And I was quite happy with it, to be fair. But let's just go back on to, obviously, you went to university. What did you study in uni?
So I started off doing accounting and finance. That was my first year. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot. For me, I'd got a bit like tunnel vision almost. I was like, I'm only ever going to be an accountant if I come out of this. Yeah. And the thought of me being an accountant gave me the ick. I thought, I can't be an accountant. That's not for me.
Just running numbers day in, day out.
Yeah, like I'm too social. So then after the end of my first year, I was like, I'm swapping. I'm not doing this. And I said to my, whatever they're called, tutor, yeah. I was like, I don't want to do accounting and finance anymore. And I passed my first year, like it was fine. And she was like, okay, well, you'll have to do... You can change it to business and finance. You're still doing finance, but it's like more of a business, so it's broader. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then she's like, but you've got to go back to year one. And I was thinking, like, are you having a laugh? You literally changed one word, accounting, business. It's all the same thing. So I went back to year one, and then that was fine. Went to uni, did that. I didn't really go. Again, my attendance was awful.
Did you have a plan? Because obviously,
no,
business and finance, obviously, you kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to be dealing with this and that. But did you have a plan and think to yourself, okay, because where did you go? Because after you finished uni, you were at, is it Boo Avenue, is it? Or
yeah, so basically, again, going back to the whole thing of, I just wanted to earn money. Yeah. I didn't care about my student loan. It wasn't enough. And I was very old before my time. So I didn't live in student halls. I could think of nothing worse. Yeah. So I'd got my own little flat, just having the best time ever. And then I got my own flat and I was like, I need to work full time. And obviously my job, my actual real first job, not a pot washer, I worked at Boots on one of the makeup counters, which was all well and good. And that was back in Cannock. And then they were like, we'll transfer you over to a Boots in Liverpool. So I worked in the Clayton Square Boots for a little while. All good, all fun. And then I got an opportunity to work as a retail manager for a niche brand in Harvey Nicks. So I was like, I don't care about my lectures, so I'm just going to do that. So I was doing my lectures, but I was doing them all online. I was never going into... I think I went into a uni building maybe 5 times.
So you were more interested in being out in the field and just getting the money?
Yeah. So, and I was in a management position. I thought, this is great, because I must have only been 18. I was literally 18, and I was running this account. I was having the best time ever. Met loads of friends that weren't just student friends who were from all over. Met actual Scousers and was like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm in now. I'm an adopted Scouser.
Do you find then that uni was a bit just getting in the way of what you really wanted to do?
Yeah, it got in the way, but there was so much pressure on me from back at home to be you've got to get a degree because otherwise you're never going to get anywhere. I'm now 60. I worked out the other day. I had a look. I'm £67,000 worth in debt to student finance, right? And I learned nothing. And I'm not even just saying this. I literally learned nothing from my time at uni. So I just sacked it off. I got to the end of my second year, passed, and I was like, do you know what? This is ruining my life. It's getting in the way so much. And then they were
progressing. They
were getting a bit moody with me because I wasn't going to my lectures. And then I found out I wasn't very well, which I'm sure we'll touch on later on. And I just thought there's more to life than this. Like there is so much more to life than...
So before you turned up, obviously before me and you interacted, where was you working before you come to us?
I'd been at Harvey Nichols for a little while, just chilling, having the time of my life. And then I got offered a job, a management job in Boo Avenue, the underwear shop, and I did that for like, I don't know, maybe 18 months. And it was a scream, loved it. But I knew I didn't want to do it forever. I had fun on the daily, but like I'd come home and I'd be mentally exhausted. And I used to just think, this isn't for me. Like I've worked as far up in retail management as I can possibly go now. Yeah. And I do not want to deal with people like the general public on the daily.
Yeah, just daily basis.
So then for a little while after that, I was like, I want to get into recruitment. I don't really know what made me want to go into recruitment. I don't know if it was like the sense of earning money whilst helping other people.
Find their own career paths.
Yeah, like help them. So I did that for a little while at a company over in Liverpool. And we were doing education recruitment. So that was really like insightful, and it was worthwhile because we were helping like teachers find jobs in schools.
I remember you touching on that when me and you, because obviously, contrary to what people think, Megan messaged us for work.
I did. And now look at you.
Yeah, well, it all come about. I was on a train journey with one of our clients, Nick Bolton, the CEO of the Christmas Decorators, who is actually going to be a guest on our podcast. He's agreed to come on.
Good for that one.
Yeah, love Nick. But it was a conversation with him where we were on the train to London, and my phone didn't stop.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and was like, "You just need to get out of this rat race because what you're doing is great, but you just need help."
Yeah.
And I'd never really had an employee before. Obviously, I was working from home and stuff. And
little bedroom boss.
Bedroom boss, yeah. And I remember coming across your LinkedIn page and it just said business and finance. And the first thing that jumped at me was she can do all my invoicing and she might be able to get me some clients. That was the first thing I thought. And I thought, well, if I can get someone, and that's you, if I can get someone to do that.
Yeah, it takes a weight off your shoulders.
But I'm going to be honest with you, what you've done and how long you've been with us now?
So it'll be... I think it'll be 2 years in June.
In 2 years,
you've
gone from not knowing a single thing about recruitment as such or engineering to commercial director within our business.
It's funny that, isn't it?
It is.
Pinch me moment.
I would like to say it's my fantastic recruitment skills that I brought.
You just said I approached you.
Well, you did, but I seen you. But I think what you've done for yourself and the career that you're carving out is admirable, to be fair.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of our clients now only deal with you, which for me is great.
For them, it's great too.
For them, I'm sure they'd say it's a lot better as well. But, what you've done in a short space of time, where you've come from not knowing any of the terminology or the lingo in engineering to picking it up, we are very lucky.
And now I'm a steel girl through and through.
Through and through. Steel till I die. But
steel till I die.
You deal with all aspects of the recruitment, you deal with the engineering, the on-site stuff, and obviously, the fabrication shop as well. Do you know what I mean? So the way that you do it.
And do you know what it was? I think at the beginning it was kind of like, what have I got myself in for here? Because it was just us two, wasn't it?
It was me and you just for a long time, and it was a bit like we didn't really kind of know which way to go. I was in a bit of a crossroads myself with the business. I was a bit like, do I go full hog? Do I just stick with Meg and just see how it goes? And then obviously what we're going to go into in the next in the next phase is projected the company into an absolute monster house, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Bigger and bigger. So I feel like now, before we go into that, we need to talk about where it come from. Like people always ask me this question. I give them some made up story every single time. Where did Eminent come from? Why is it called Eminent? Like, I give them a proper mad story. I'm like, oh, Dan opened a dictionary and just flicked the pages and put his finger on a word. Like, what is it?
Well, what we'll do is we'll start. First of all, we need to clear something up. Is the name of the podcast?
Oh God, yeah.
Which has caused a bit of controversy, and I've had a few people message me going, "Why would you call it that?" It's a bit. You're downplaying yourself. You're being disrespectful. Now, everyone knows me, and I have a bit of an argy-bargy on social media. My LinkedIn profile is extremely commercial, very professional, but then we have Facebook. Now, Facebook to me is just John and his dog who have never tried to do anything with their life. They just see a job and they just see the word recruitment attached to it and just attack you. Basically, they call me a parasite. The amount of messages and hate mail I get all the time, you're a parasite, you're living off people. you're making a living off other people. The name of the podcast is a bit of a throwback to them, and just to say,
yeah,
fingers up.
Disclaimer: it's not me that's the parasite,
it's not
though.
me that's the parasite.
I am not. I am just here.
So basically, it's the people who have no idea of the business and the concept of what the business is or what we try to achieve, or even my background.
Yeah.
And they just see me advertising jobs at an hourly rate, knowing that we're making money.
Yeah.
So I get called a parasite quite a lot. So this is a bit of a fingers up to the people that have been on the hate train for a long time, and the people that don't support anything that we do and will never support anything that we do.
But this hate train's wild to me because, everybody wins. Your client is happy. You're happy.
Well, what makes me laugh is they say that just because you're hiring someone out per hour on the hour and you're making money, you're a parasite. But if you're employed direct by a company, that boss is still charging out more than...
Yeah. So is every
business.
So is every boss a parasite?
Well, I don't know.
Or just you?
Just me, apparently. But we're going to go into, obviously, how Eminent started.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the school days. I was a handful in school.
Still are now.
Still am now. Bit of a handful. Left school with absolutely nothing apart from the best grades of a cookery.
Big up the Victoria Sponge.
Big up the Victoria Sponge. But yeah... I basically come home. I was lucky to see senior school through.
Yeah.
And my mum basically said, "Okay, son, you've left school. I want me rent." And I was a bit like, "What?" I'm like, "I've still got my uniform on."
Please, what does that mean?
I've still got my uniform on. She was like, "No." And cut a long story short, she was basically saying, "This is how it is. I don't get any money. Blah de blah. This is what you have to do today." And you keep. So I was like, "Okay, so." First of all, I wanted to be an electrician and I wanted to be a plumber. And I'd done a couple of these assessments in different colleges and stuff to try and get in, learning about electrical phase and stuff. And I was okay at it. I was more hands-on. I'm not very good at learning something off of paper and stuff. Show me and I'll do it and I can learn. That's the way
more visual.
I am. More visual, yeah. So, cut long story short, I failed too, and I thought, what am I going to do? And then I had a good friend, Adam Hart, who's doing quite well for himself now at another company. I think he's a contracts manager.
Okay.
And me and him both went for this job. Now, his mum phoned my mum. We went to school together. We lived about three roads down. And he said, his mum phoned my mum. So, there's a college in Knowsley. They're taking on youngsters.
Yeah.
£50 a week, and you get a free bus pass.
Oh, up the bus pass.
Free bus pass.
Stunning.
I'm in, and it was in Kirby, so it was a bit of a travel from Anfield, but the bus pass covered it.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let's go down. I went down, done the assessments, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And it was in an engineering factory, so they learn how to weld, fabricate, do sheet metal work and stuff like that. And I quite liked it, and I thought, But this place just wasn't for me. This place, I was intrigued. If I'm interested in something, I give it me all. I'm like, I want to know, I want to think. This place was just full of people who didn't really have much going for themselves and just wanted...
We're just there for the free bus pass.
There and the 50 quid.
Yeah.
It was, you'd be trying to do your work and people would be throwing things over.
But £50 was like £1 million back in them days, wasn't it?
All right. It wasn't that long ago. I'm only 36. But, they were throwing things and I just thought I need to get out of here. Now, there was an engineering company over the road.
Yeah.
A steel factory, a steel company. And basically, this fella used to come in when he was a bit busy. He was an old man. He worked by himself and he had a couple of helpers. And then he used to come in and get lads. And it was like work experience.
Okay.
So I went over and just as he come in and one of the lads pulled me and went, if you end up going over there, he's a pain in the arse.
Oh, really?
And I went, it can't be that bad. So I went over. Now, bear in mind, I've been in this place a couple of weeks. He comes over to me and goes, try this. And I went, all right. And then he walks off into the offices and just leaves me on the shop floor by myself. So I'm in this big factory by myself, looking around and I'm thinking, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the welder, set it up and he told me to weld this. It was like a lug on a gate. So I welded it up, and just left it. And he come back out and he was like, looked at it and went, yeah, that'll do. And that was it. So then he said, would you like to come back? And I said, yeah, go on, Sam. And I said, do you get any extra money? And he's like, yeah, we'll give you a bit extra. And I was like, that'll do me. Brilliant. Now, he didn't have any kids.
No.
I think he had a wife, but he had no kids. So he kind of adopted me a little bit as like,
he was, like you and me.
A bit like that, like a stray cat. But he just adopted me and just took me under his wing.
That's cute.
And just spent a lot of time with me. There was a woman in the office, Christine, Chrissy we called her, and she every 10 o'clock break she'd make me beans on toast. She had me in the office, and from a very early age he taught me everything from like the prices of metal, how to read things, how to do things, and how to set things up in the right way. And I thought, he's not actually that bad.
And he was investing in you as well,
Yeah,
his time.
and it went on for about 2.5 years. And I loved him, to be fair. I really liked him. Now, he brought his brother on into the company. And by this time, I was basically holding my own in the shop. Because it was one-on-one training for basically 2 years. It might be 2.5 years. Nearly close to finishing my apprenticeship.
So how old are you at this point? So young.
Just left school, so I'm still 17, 18.
Okay.
And basically, I'm running little jobs and I'm doing bits and bobs, and his brother comes and joins us, and we just clashed.
Oh.
And by that time, I kind of got a bit too big for me boots, let's say. And I basically had an argument with him after I told him to do something. It didn't work out, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I just said to him, listen, he needs to go on me, thinking he'd pick me. And he chose his brother. So I thought, okay, so I packed my toolbox up and I left. And I was a bit like, wow, what do I do now? So I went to another company to finish my apprenticeship off.
Yeah.
He was exactly the same, an old fella, looked after me. But what I didn't know was he was a bit of a nightmare, this fella. And well, he was just so precise. I didn't know the reasons why.
Yeah.
So I remember we went to do a job. Somewhere. Now, he picked me up late at night. We drove, I think it was like Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Went to Edinburgh and he said, I want you to read these drawings, go through all the steelwork, and I want you to lay everything out. So I went, okay. Got to this place, and it was like a big, massive factory. It was like a mezzanine floor going in.
Yeah.
And he said, this is what your job is, blah, blah, blah. So the shift we'd done was about 26 hours. We had a couple of cans of Coke, a couple of Mars bars, and we'd done this 26-hour shift, and he didn't really speak to me.
Yeah.
So I had it out with him on the way back. So before we even left, like, we're doing the job, and I'm looking around thinking, this fella's weird.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling this company.
Yeah.
So we finish up the job, and he doesn't speak to me on the way back in the van. And I said to him, I'm texting my mum saying this fella's not right in the head. Like I'm gonna call this a day. Like, and
calling the police. Come get me, mum.
This can't be legal what he's doing here. So my mum said, just leave it. It'll be all right. So I said, he must have seen, and I'm looking at him, and I was about to say something to him, and he goes, "What's on your mind?" And I said, "Nothing." And he goes, "No, what's on your mind?" So I basically said,
"You're weird."
No, I basically said, "You're taking the piss out of me a little bit."
Okay.
I said, "I've worked 26 hours for you.
Yeah.
We've had minimal breaks." I said, "And you haven't even spoke to me." And he just leaned over as he was driving, and he said, "So I've worked with you for 26 hours. And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "And how old are you?" And I think I was just turned 18. Or just after 18. And he went, "And I didn't have to speak to you." And I went, "No." And he went,
"That's a good thing."
Well, he just went, "That's all you need to know." And I never got it. And I thought, I texted my mum, "Oh, this fella's definitely nuts."
Help me, mum, come and get me.
I'm quitting my job. This fella's a lunatic. And it just hit me one day what he meant. I basically ran the job for him, and I didn't have to ask him for anything. And we'd done a full shift, and we'd done the job, and everything was great.
No problems.
It come to about my 19th birthday, I think it was. Work was going a bit slow in the company, and a lot of his clients were quite old, and they were all retiring.
Yeah.
He basically come in on my 19th birthday, happy birthday cake, blah, 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 and give me the keys to the factory.
Shut up.
Yeah, he basically said, "This is why I've been
this is why I've been really, really weird."
That's what he said to me. He basically said, "This is why I've been so hard with you."
Yeah.
Because I was trying to teach you everything about business, from the minimal to the...
Yeah.
He said, "Listen," he said,
full circle.
He said, "I've got, I think it was about 8-9 months left on the lease."
Yeah.
He said, "I've told everyone anyway, everyone knew."
Yeah.
He said, "But a lot of my clients are going to retire anyway, and they probably won't." He said, "But just see what happens." He said, I'm out, blah, blah, blah. So I just carried on trading as like a little one-man band for a bit. Cut a long story short, that didn't last very long.
No.
I kind of felt like it wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
So then I just spent years contracting.
Okay.
So I worked for agencies. I was working for people that I knew. I'd done a bit of roofing and cladding with my cousin and my uncle, a bit of labouring. And then I thought, I want to be a bit better. Then I learned to drive a telehandler. It's got me a few machine tickets.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled on a company, MCA Installations, who is Adam Fletcher, Craig Fletcher, and Martin Fletcher.
The
boys.
Nice.
Who now run Fortis Engineering. Now, I stumbled on this company, and I absolutely love this company.
Yeah.
It was a young team. Adam and Craig were brothers, a couple of years apart, same age as me, and Martin was the dad. Very straight, lovely company to work for, and I loved it there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they got made redundant just as I was getting into the swing of it. And I was just a contractor. I was just going to work Monday to Friday, it's Monday to Friday. Friday on the piss with the lads, as you do, spending all your money knowing you're back in work. And what happened was, I got laid off at Christmas, and I was that skint. I remember phoning Craig, the boss, and saying, I know I've lost my job, and I know we're having a Christmas night out. I'm skint. Do you mind if I join? And Craig went, Dan, just come along, have a few drinks, and something I'll never ever forget.
Yeah, that's so lovely. They are lovely boys.
Yeah, and they're
they?
actually a client now of the Eminent group, and we do a lot together. So once that was over, I was back to contracting, and then I had a few hands in a few fires, waiting for jobs to start, and nothing was really happening. I ended up in a job in Warrington in a fabrication shop, and I just didn't like it.
Yeah,
and it was in this place that turned everything for me. I was working for a foreman who was an absolute clown, to be fair. He spoke to people disrespectful, and I met a cracking lad there called Darren Rowlands.
Love Darren.
Darren Rowlands knows the impact that he had on me and my business. Me and Darren, he was a fabricator welder, and we're working together, and we're just like, this place is an absolute dive. We need to get out of here. At the time, we were on about £11 an hour.
Okay.
Pretty standard back then. Yeah. But I'd already spoke to another fella that I'd done a little bit of work with on and off, and he said, might have this job coming up here on Liverpool Stadium.
Great, so I was for an Evertonian.
That'll do me. Do you know what I mean? On my doorstep. Let me know. So I said to Dad, and I said, listen, I might be having a job here at Liverpool. Do you fancy coming with me? And he went, mate, if that phone rings, I'm coming with you.
Coming with.
So we're in this workshop, lad, the phone goes, and it's this new boss. And he says, do you fancy getting involved? I said, yeah, go on. So I literally went over to the foreman and said, listen, this ain't for me. Bye. I'm off. Went and seen the boss and said, listen, nothing to do with the company. I love the company, but I just can't work with this fella anymore.
That's a big impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got this new job. So I went, and then Darren's basically come with me. So I said to Dave, the new boss, I said, listen, I've got this lad, he'll join. He said, yeah, bring him with me. Now, Dave, I knew, paid a little bit more than I was on.
Okay.
So I kind of thought to myself straight away, hang on, I can probably do something here. So I said, Dave was dead laid back, dead nice fella, genuine, really had a lot of time for him. He basically said, I said to him, listen, why don't you pay me the 14 and I'll pay Darren 12?
Yeah, like fine for you, mate.
So I'm getting £2 an hour.
Yeah,
so he was like, yeah, that sounds great by me. So
you wasn't bothered,
so I wasn't bothered. Cool. So me and Darren worked together for a couple of months on Anfield, and everything was going great, and I'm earning me £2 an hour. Now, we were doing 40 hours a week, but that £80 that I was earning was just being money. That was my Friday, and I paid for it. So I thought, this is great, this.
Yeah.
Couple of weeks go by, and then Darren comes up to me and says, listen, I've got a phone call here for a job in Belgium. So I said, okay, tell me about it. And he told me about it, and he went, the money's 1,500 quid a week. He said, it's for up to a year. Digs paid, travel paid, blah, 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 blah. So I went, just go, all right, we'll
get us to Belgium.
We'll go for I wasn't involved at that point, so I said, just go for it. So I'd said to my boss, I said, listen, Darren's going to go. He doesn't want to leave things on bad terms. So my boss, Dave, said, well, just get me another Darren. So I went, brilliant. So another lad from the other company come back and join me again.
Amazing. So you're not losing out.
Still had me £2 an hour. Cool. Now, a couple of weeks goes by and I get a phone call from Darren. Darren goes, you need to get out here. It's brilliant. Yeah. And I went, okay, but I can't. I'm employed. And he was like, no, just Dan. He said, listen, just try and figure it out.
Yeah.
You need to come here. So I went, all right, look, we'll figure it out. So I went and seen Dave, and I was on my dinner at Anfield, and I said, listen, I've been given this opportunity. Now, at that time, I was on £300 a week.
Yeah.
This was 15, working away. Now, for most people working at home, once you get that opportunity to work abroad, it just fills you with a bit more, I'm working abroad. It makes you feel good.
I'm international.
International, you know what I mean?
Love it.
But he said to me, that's fine.
Yeah.
He said, I want you to do well. That's the type of fella he was. He was an absolute gem of a fella. So he said, you go, but replace you with another lad.
With another Dan.
So I went, brilliant, that's what I'll do. So I got another lad in. So that's £4 an hour I was earning at that time.
And you weren't even in the country.
And I weren't even in the country. So I went to Belgium.
Yeah.
And I was there probably about a week. And the fella approached me, Paul Moulton, his name is. He was the boss of a company called Conveyor Services.
Yeah.
Absolute blinder fella. One of the nicest fellas I've ever met.
Love that.
A lot of time, and he understands, and I've always said that the whole business is what he done for me.
Yeah.
So he pulls me in the office and says, Darren says you might be able to help me out with a few men. And I said, well, potentially, what you need? And he goes, I need 15 men.
Oh, 15.
So 50, straight away, my ears are picked up. I sat right up and I was like, okay, well, talk to me. So he said, okay, I'll pay you what I pay you, and I'll give you a little bit extra for each lad.
Yeah.
Thought, Jesus Christ. Now, this was on like the Thursday. And he said, I need them for Monday. And I was a bit like...
All these clients with their quick turnarounds.
Well, they do kill you off, to be fair. Yeah,
still do it now.
They want things doing at the drop of a hat. But it was an opportunity that I just had to take. And I thought,
of course.
I'm going to wing this. I'm just going to say yeah and just see what I can do. Now, I've been in the industry since I was 16.
Yeah.
By this time, you know, I've been contracting for a long time. I gathered a lot of people's names
and
numbers.
A lot of
people that I'd work with. Because I was a contractor.
Yeah.
I used to take people's numbers and say, oh, if you get any good jobs, let me know and I'll come and work with you. So I had a little bit of a thing. So I started messaging people, got this job in Belgium. Come and join us. And we put together this team. And it weren't the best team. It was an average team with a couple of good people through in.
Okay.
But it was so short notice and we were all working in teams, so you could kind of get away with it. And then that was it. It kind of just hit. And then Belgium was one of them places which kind of taught me a lot in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
It taught me that, one, the business might be viable and that might actually have something here. Two, that you can't really work and be the bosses.
Yeah,
it doesn't, no matter how you try it just doesn't work. That was another thing I learned very quick. Third thing is that everyone wants to be your mate when everything's going well. Yeah. Now, everything was going well on the job. I had made a comment to someone on a bar or something saying about the money and was like, Jesus Christ, like, you know, there's a lot of money at stake, blah, 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 blah. Because don't forget, I was having to find the wages for these lads.
Yeah, every week,
I had a little bit of money saved up, but nothing. Yeah. So I had a chat with Paul and I voiced my concerns. Basically said, listen, if you don't pay me, I'm going to end up in a bit of trouble here because...
You'll be dead. You'll have 15 angry men at you.
15 very angry men in a foreign country.
You would be dead.
So he reassured me. He's like, Dan, you will get paid. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I remember I put the invoice in for the end of the month and it was about 40 grand. And at that point, it hit me and I thought, shit.
Yeah.
This is £40,000.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money for me.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I've got to the end of the month.
Yeah.
I could pull it together if I needed to. I've got my own wages. I've got, money saved. And, you know.
Yeah, I could get it from somewhere.
I can get it. But me and one of the lads were getting dressed up to go on a night out and I went to the bank and I just checked the bank and all of a sudden there was thousands of pounds in the bank and I've just went... shit, like
club.
Where's this money? Where's this money come from? So I phoned Paul and was like, Paul, where's this money come from? And he was like, well, you're being paid. And I went, what do you mean I'm being paid? He said, well, your invoice was for 4 weeks, but we get paid every 2 weeks. He said, and you've caught it in the middle.
Stun him.
Straight away, literally, as soon as that payment come in, I had enough money to pay every single lad for the whole month. And if it all went tits up, it would have went tits. Everyone would have been paid.
Yeah.
Just took a weight off my shoulder and I thought, oh my God, we're going to actually do something here.
Yeah.
It's actually going to work.
Yeah.
That went on for about 9 months.
Wow.
So I was earning money off the lads. You know, it was a good job. I said, learned a lot. Done things and got up to stuff that you not really should have been doing as a boss. So I was out partying with the lads. I was out drinking with the lads. But I'd gone from £300 a week to £5,000 or £6,000 a week in wages.
It's hard, isn't it?
And I was a bit like... oh, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So it didn't die a death, but I could have managed it better.
Yeah.
But it was my first time of doing it, and I thought, Jesus.
And you were so young.
And I was still quite young, so I thought, we'll go with it. What happened afterwards taught me a lot more because I went from being really thinking I was successful and, oh my God, getting the business registered in 2016 as a proper entity, limited company, recruitment, and off we go. Now, what I'd found out later was that my name was being passed around to people in the industry. So I'd left Belgium and I'd come home for a week or two and then got a job in a place called Recklinghausen out in Germany for a massive company, worldwide company. So I thought, here we go again. I will do the same. I'll get out there and I'll get lads out in Germany.
Yeah.
That was the plan. I got to Germany and it was nothing like I thought. I was out in the middle of nowhere and everyone that was on the job were all in big, like, clusters of people. They're all best mates with each other. Contractors who work abroad stay in like little gangs and they travel and they all help each other out. And I was by myself.
Oh, shit.
Now, first thing I messed up on was I treated myself to a new car. So I turned up in this new car and raised a few eyebrows. This lad coming to work on the tools, a young lad, and I was driving, I think it was like an A7 or something at the time, like a really nice Audi.
Yeah.
tool bag out the back, overalls,
Put
covered
me
in
harder
shit.
on.
Yeah, harder, and everyone was looking at me thinking, who is this lad?
Yeah. What an idiot.
Yeah, and a bit, well, they probably did, to be fair.
Bit pretentious.
Bit pretentious, who's this gobshite?
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was one of the other lads on the Belgium site had give someone a heads up that I was coming to this job.
Oh.
Now, the way it worked out is as soon as I got there, I just felt like I wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah.
So we were put in little gangs, and I remember the very first comment come over to me saying, "Why the fuck are you here?"
Oh.
And I was like,
rude.
Bit rude. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'm here to earn money just like
living
anybody
me
else.
life.
And there's an old fella, and he was about 65, 70, and he just took a dislike to me straight away. And now he knew someone who looked out for me very, very a lot, like a lot in Belgium. His name was Darren Watkins. He kind of took me under his wing. He was an older fella, very placid, had a lot of time for me and tried to steer me into the correct ways.
Right, yeah.
He had friends who were engineers, and they passed the names around.
Yeah.
And it just got to this fella, and it was just like, he just didn't like me. I was sitting by myself in the canteen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was a bad time for me, to be fair. And I thought, this is not gonna happen for me. And then it just got progressively worse. Now, we went out on a night out, and we went for a few drinks after work. Me, this old guy, and he worked with his son, and another fella who I didn't really know. Now, we're in this German bar having a few drinks. Two girls are at the bar buying us drinks.
Buying you drinks?
Buying me drinks, yeah. So,
girls are buying you drinks?
believe it or not, yeah.
Shouldn't it be the other way around?
It should be, but...
This is horrendous.
I was Danny
I
was Danny the Playboy back then with my nice cars.
Still are.
So, basically, we were having a few drinks with these girls.
Yeah.
And they were buying us drinks, and then we started buying them drinks.
Okay.
Now, they'd bought us drinks thinking... Well, they'd bought us drinks, and we'd thought, we're getting drinks. So these girls had left the bar. The other two people had gone out for a smoke, and I've been sat by the bar by myself, and now the woman's come over to me at the bar and was like, here's your bar bill, and it was all the drinks. So I was a bit like...
You got stung.
Got stung. So I thought, hang on a sec. So
Rookie mistake.
as I've gone outside to grab the lads I was working with,
Yeah.
they're not there.
Oh, you've been shafted.
I've been shafted. And I think they set it up.
Audacious.
And I think they set it up. Now, police were called.
How much was said bar bill?
About 70, 80 euro. But I didn't have my card on me. It was only after work, do you know what I mean? So we were just chilling. Now, I didn't know.
Have you been deported from Germany? Is this what you're going to tell me?
I wasn't deported. But basically, I got arrested for not having any identification. So I spent 20 odd hours in a German police cell by myself, and I thought, I've been stitched up here. So basically, yeah, I come back to work, paid the fine, and I come back to work, and I walked in, and the foreman basically said to me, you're gonna have to go. And I was like, why? He said, I've heard about you causing a scene last night in a pub, being arrested. And I went, causing a scene? I said, I didn't, you know.
It wasn't you?
It wasn't me. And
Shafted.
I knew where it had come from.
Yeah.
So
this old fella and his son.
I just said to him, do you know what? Sticky job, clean up your ass, not worth it to me. I'll find something else.
I'll go back to England.
And that's what I did. Then I went to England, and I'd done a job in Runcorn. Similar setup again. I got to that point where people started to know who I was a little bit, which was my own downfall a little bit. So I went to Runcorn to do the same type of job at the same company, and I was there an hour, and it come up again who I was, recruitment, this. And
yes, I am Daniel Lay.
yeah, well, people knew anyway. Yeah. So people took a dislike to me straight away.
People are so weird.
So at that point, I had a run-in with someone on site, and there was I think he was South African foreman, and he basically said to me, listen, I appreciate what you're trying to do. He said, but you're rubbing people up the wrong way. People don't want to know about you earning money off other people whilst they're working. And I said, that's fine. And he said, can you do me a favour? Can you just be nice to this lad? And if you have to, just blow smoke up his ass, because he's very well respected. And I said, no.
No, yeah.
And he went, what do you mean? I said, I'm not here to blow smoke up anyone's ass. I'm here to do a job. If you've got a problem, that's his own problem.
Yeah.
And that was it.
See you later,
I turned the job away and said, once again, stick it up your ass.
It's mad how so many people have such a problem with other people doing well.
Well, it was at the point with me trying. No, I got to that point then where I was at this crossroads.
Yeah.
Do I go full hog and go recruitment, and just do it?
Get off the tools type of thing.
Or do I not? And I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to piss people off anyway, so let me just do it
do
for
it
myself.
my way, yeah.
Now, a couple of weeks went by, and I had an opportunity. I had a new email address. I had a logo.
DannyEminent@hotmail.com.
I had everything set up, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I was working from home, and I thought, I'm going to do this properly.
Yeah.
And an opportunity come up I got a phone call from someone that I knew, and he said, listen, I've heard that you're doing a bit of labour. And I said, yeah. He said, do you want to work with us? I can get you in front of these people for like a shutdown. He said, there's about 30 people. And now, Jesus Christ, at 30 people, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like, yes, please.
Yes, God help me, yes.
So he said to me, only problem is they're doing like an interviewing thing for recruiters. He said, so you've got to go and like have a chat with them and stuff. And I said, okay, sound. So he set the interview up for me, and I knew I couldn't compete with these other companies. I was Danny Eminent, working at home on a laptop, not really,
nothing corporate, nothing
corporate. And I thought, I can't compete with these. So I thought, the name Eminent, which you asked about, comes from strength, knowledgeable, means well in the know. So that was my USP. My USP when I was a recruiter, my USP was
strength through knowledge. So fun fact, Danny Lay had about
a million business cards.
Yeah, 1 million business cards, and all of them said the same quote, strength through knowledge. And it's a bit of a laughing point in the office now, isn't it?
It served me well because people asked what it meant, and I was like, well, I'm time saved in what I supply. Yeah. So people were like, oh, hang on, this is a bit of a niche. So I was like, yeah. So I remember going to this, phase, this interview phase, and I knew they just wanted to get me in and out because they're really interested. Yeah. And I thought, okay, so I'm not going to be able to say I'm a multi-million-pound business. I'm not going to be able to say I've got a database of 1,000 people. I've got no experience running massive jobs apart from Belgium, which by this time was I was hanging on to it a little bit. So I thought, what can I do? And I thought, I'm a fucking tradesman. That's what I am. I'm a skilled tradesman. Yeah. So in me tool bag, I had loads of nuts and bolts and fixings and bits and bobs. So I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to tell them the difference between my business and any other company that I knew of at the time, which was I am time saved in what I supply. That's my niche market, and I know the people that I supply. So I thought, this is what I'm going to do. Went into my tool bag and I got a load of nuts and bolts and a load of fixings and stuff like that. And I drove up to, it was like North Wales. Yeah. I went up to North Wales and I sat down. The fella said, oh yeah, you're blah blah from Eminent. And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, you're being recommended from this company or this fella. And I said, yeah. She says, okay, sit down. And he said, well, you're in first. He said, so I'll give it a shout. So fucking my ass was going like, do you know what I mean? I thought, let's just see how it goes. Walked into this interview and he goes, tell me why you should win this maintenance contract. And he said, it's a shutdown maintenance. It's a big deal. He said, and from what I don't know anything about you. I've never even heard you. Yeah. So I said, listen, you've been recommended me. That must say one thing. Yeah. I said, and the person who's recommended me is not shy. Yeah. And is a very good tradesman. He wouldn't put his name to me if I couldn't deliver. Yeah. I said, but listen, my unique selling point is that I'm qualified in what I'm giving you. Yeah. That's all you need to know. And I said, here's a test for you. I said, I can't compete with these multi-million-pound businesses, but they can't compete with what I can do. And he said, well, what's that? And I went into my little bag and I give him a set of nuts and bolts, all different sizes. And I went, that's a 10 milli nut and bolt. That's a 12 milli nut and bolt. That's a 16 nut and bolt. I said, this is what size spanners you're going to need. This is a grapple clip. This is a tapered washer. And he was like, yeah, I know all that. And I said, yeah, you know it, but the other people won't. And I said, leave them on your desk. And when the other people come in, ask them what they are. These people claim to be engineering specialists. Yeah. That's what everyone says. I'm an engineering specialist. Don't talk shite. You wouldn't know the first thing. So shove
this Weldon rod up your ass.
Yeah. So I just said, well, let's play them at their own game. Yeah. If you're saying that you're something, prove it. So that's what I've done. So
love that.
I left all the nuts and bolts and all the bits and bobs on the table, and I left the interview, and I didn't hear nothing back for 2 days. And I thought, oh well,
never mind. Gave it a go.
2 days later, the phone rings and we won the contract. And they basically said,
nobody knew what.
No one knew. Somebody said it was a nut and bolt, but no one can go into detail, which tells me that you understand what we need. And I said, that's all I'm about. And that was it. And that's how Eminent basically started as a proper recruitment company. We were then registered, and then we just started getting a bit of traction, really. And when it first started, I thought to myself, what 3 things that people hate about recruitment? Payroll fees. People hate being charged for their own money. It's bad enough that I'm earning money on their wage.
But then it's scandalous, isn't it? Yeah.
But to charge someone for their own wages, so I thought, I'll just do all the wages myself. So then I said, okay, what's the second thing? Second thing is people don't like being lied to. Don't tell someone it's a 2-week job and then get there and it's a 2-day job. So I put a bit of a clause in to all my clients that I was trying to get into, saying, if you tell me it's a 2-week contract and it's not, we'll never work with you ever again. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Now, the third thing was the wages. In recruitment worlds at the moment, they just have targets and they have spreadsheets and they just have targets and they have to just, you know, sell people out at certain rates. And I thought, I don't need to do that. If I know John's a good welder and I know he's a good welder, he's not going to work for them rates, so I'll just set my own rates.
Yeah.
Would I work for that job, for that money? And I took every job as an individual, so someone would say, this is what it is, and I'd say, fuck, this is welding in I think there was a flour mill and a cement factory. And I was like, mate, I'm not welding in places for less than, you know, 18, 20 quid an hour back in the day. And that's what I just sold to lads. And any companies that didn't meet my expectations, we refused to work with.
And I think it's really important that we're still the same now, aren't we?
We're still the same, 8 years on now. So it's our, well, you know, it's our
8-week anniversary.
8-year anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Babe.
8 years in we are.
Wow.
So that was how we set up, and it just snowballed. And then all of a sudden we just had people everywhere.
Yeah.
And it just become a proper business then. And then it was just, how do you keep it going, really? Yeah. And then obviously, you know, the recruitment was holding its own. There was a funny story as well where a client contacted me and said, I need a couple of men. And he said, I've heard you literally know these lads. And I said, yeah, I know them all.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, tell me about them. And I said as a joke, I said, well, Frank's a Liverpool supporter and he's a season ticket holder and a cop. I said, but if Liverpool are playing the Champions League game, he won't be in work. And he laughed.
Thinking it was a joke, and it wasn't.
The week later, Liverpool played Porto. And he was off on the Wednesday, I think it was, and he phoned me up and he went, Frank's not in. I said, no.
Told you.
He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I told you, if Liverpool play, he won't be in the next day. He'll be on the piss.
Yeah.
And he went, I thought you were messing. I said, mate, I know these people.
Yeah, like the back of my hand.
That's what we're doing. And that's just how the business come about. And
Love
then it just started to grow, and then it started to grow. And then we got yourself involved. And
we did.
You joined the madness.
Yeah, actually, I think I created a lot of the madness.
You did. You got involved.
Yeah.
And then obviously the install company just become, I remember working with a company called Ridge Steel, and I went to do it. They were really struggling for labour.
Yeah.
I didn't like letting people down, so I put my overalls on and went and worked myself.
Well, we do that sometimes, don't we?
Do that.
Yeah.
We do that. I put my overalls on sometimes. I don't know any of the recruitment company where the boss will go and put a pair of overalls on.
No, get on the tools.
But that's what I'd done for years, and we were 24 hours a day. And there's a funny thing as well about the payments. We used to pay people at 6 o'clock every week, and people used to say, why the fuck do you pay people so late? The reason for it was because I funded this business by myself.
Yeah.
So I used to get my wages at 4 o'clock and then pay people with my own wages. Most weeks going without any money. I'm struggling myself to make sure that the people were paid, and that's why people were paid on time, because I was literally going to work some weeks by myself.
And we don't pay wages at 6 o'clock anymore.
We don't,
so
no,
if you want a job, you get paid earlier than 6 p.m. on a Friday.
Next moved it down. It's about 4 now, isn't it? We're getting
no,
better.
it's about 1:30.
Oh, is it? It's
yeah, they love it.
Right. But that was basically how it started. And then the install company, like I said, I was on the tools helping a client out down in Worcester.
Yeah.
And I heard them just saying to me, we're struggling for manpower here on a job. And I said, well, why don't I just set up a little company and I'll do your installs for you on fixed price?
Fixed price.
That never worked. He never come to me for it. But what it done was it kind of gave me a bit of a push then. I was like, hang on. These people who I'm giving you project managers, supervisors, and 30, 40 men sometimes on these shutdowns. Why don't I just give you a fixed price and I'll do the whole job?
Yeah, and a lot of people get a bit confused between, I suppose, the whole fixed price and recruitment and what the difference is. And I suppose with fixed price, it takes away the risk a little bit. They know what they're paying straight up.
Yeah. Well, we invested in it. It was literally, I think at the time we were charging 23s and paying 20s. And I said, well, why don't I just do up to 25s and I'll just buy a load of tools, get certified, and I'll do that. And that was met with a massive, people loved it because they were like, oh, I don't really like recruitment because it's a nasty word and I don't really like being charged by the hour. But if you can take that off me, I was like, listen, I'll do it.
And it works hand in hand, doesn't it, I suppose?
It does. Yeah. And then the install company just grew and grew and grew. And then we started, winning bigger jobs and bigger jobs. And then the third part of the business was the fabrication unit, which was This is a common misconception with my business.
Never a plan, was it?
Yeah, everyone seems to think that I sat down one day and went, this is how I'm going to navigate this business. I never. I'm an opportunist who will do as much as possible to make sure that I don't fail. So an opportunity will turn up and I'll look at every avenue of how to make it a success. And then I'll go, okay, this is what I need to compete at this level.
Yeah.
I think it was my dad told me a very valuable thing. You're never going to be the greatest at everything, but get in a position where you can get great people to work for you. And that's what we've done. And the fabrication become off the back of the install and recruitment, which was basically all the steel work. Okay, you're supplying the manpower, you're doing the install. Well, we can't fabricate it. Do you know anyone? And I was giving that work away. And then we just thought, no, I'll do it myself. And it kind of took me 360 degrees back. I was back in my factory, running the shop, and I was like...
And I think that's funny because you say that people have that like misconception, and it is, and it's like there was never really any end goal for Eminent, was there?
No,
there still isn't really.
No, we get up every day and we just try and improve.
Try and be better.
We've doubled our turnover consistently
every year
for the last 4 years at least.
Oh yeah, 4.
I think I know the numbers off by heart.
We
actually.
both do, yeah.
I don't know the numbers off by heart, but we're now pushing a mid-7-figure company, which if you look at the growth from being in my bedroom to where we are. It's not just, I might think it's me being great. I don't think it is. I think it's people that have trusted us and the people that have worked for us. We've still got people who work for my company now.
Still got Darren Rowland's work for you.
Darren Rowland's has worked for us.
He's worked for us
Phil
last
Andrews
year.
as well. He was out from Belgium and other people. And people have followed our little journey a little bit. We'll always have the haters. Hence,
Parasite podcast.
Hence the Parasite podcast. But that's kind of where we're going with it. And there's no end goal. No. It's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been 8 years of my life dedicated to it.
Yeah.
3 failed relationships. Mental
sorry,
health.
Girl.
Yeah.
So sorry on his behalf.
Yeah. Mental health's been,
Yeah.
In 2015, 16, I think it was, just as the business was taking off towards the end of 2016, nearly 2017, I nearly got sections. I was running on fumes, to be fair, which I'm sure will come up in another episode. We'll go into the mental health aspect of business. But for anyone who wants to set up a business and anyone, don't think that you need to overthink it. I think if you do a good job, bit like yourself, you come in something willing to expand and willing to have a go at things and just let things naturally unfold and take the opportunities as they come.
Yeah, as they come, massively.
I can't remember the last time I sat down and thought about a plan.
No.
I have targets for the business each year, but that's basically just revenue.
But even then, they're still like funny targets. Like we sat down just before Christmas. And considering, as you say, we're like 7-figure turnover company, you'd think we'd have proper business plans in place. No. We sat down for a steak, got really drunk, and I feel like point number 4 on our like things we want to achieve this year was get our teeth done.
Get our teeth
we don't take ourselves seriously
I think
all.
the first one was taken to a 10-figure business.
Yeah,
8-figure business. So we want to be at 8 figures. We want to be at 10 million turnover plus. And then I think as the drinks settled in, it was more like, okay, well, I want a house.
Yeah, get your teeth done. Want to go on holiday this year? That's another thing we're doing, isn't it? We're taking,
and that's another thing with the company as well.
We're such a fun company.
When I picked out what I didn't like about the recruiters, that's what we don't do in our business. So we changed. I flipped that whole model.
We're not corporate at all.
We don't corporate. I look after the people. So, even just recently, our company's just paid for 15 of our staff to go on an all-inclusive
Benidorm
weekend. Even the Christmas party, we put a massive party on for every single person that was involved in the business. If you've done one day's work or you've been working with me for 5 or 6 years, you were still welcome at the party. And I think that's what separates us from the masses, to be fair. And that's
that's Eminent.
That's the story of Eminent. And that's it from the very beginning.
It's heartwarming. It really is.
It's emotional.
No, but it is. And like I look back and I think even like a lot of you see a lot of these companies that have been affected by COVID and have been affected by different things. And I think for us, we've always been flying. And even when we found it tough, like there were times last year where I know that we were both like, if we took on more than we can chew.
The shop was the first thing. The
fab shop was hard.
The overheads on that were, I think it was 40 grand a year before we even put
we didn't really, and I don't think we really even took into consideration like how hard, especially getting the fab shop going would be, and it was. But then I think we're lucky in the fact that we've got other areas of the business. You've got your recruitment, you've got your installations to prop it up. So it all works hand in hand, doesn't it? And we have a good time.
Well, I'm more than happy the way things have turned out, and I'm more than happy that you've joined us and the progress that you're making in your life. To be fair, we are a very close knit company.
We are.
You and the girls in the office like sisters. We talk every day. It's a bit of a 24/7
friendship almost, but it is, and we're all friends. There's not one person in the whole business that you think, I really can't be arsed running into them today. And it's not like that at all. And everybody supports everybody. I know that, like, I touched on it earlier, but I was really poorly last year and the year before. And it was like, take as much time off as you need. And I mean, I never did. I was always working, even in hospital.
Do you think Eminent's got a grip of you a little bit, the way it consumes your life? Because it consumed my life for a long time.
It is consuming, yeah. But it's like in a nice way, because we're all working to just be the best ever, and you don't mind. Like, and the people that we deal with, the clients that we deal with are great. The guys that we have working for us are spot on. Like, and it makes it worthwhile, and you know that you're helping. It's the whole recruitment thing, isn't it? You're helping people, you're helping your clients, and it's just, we have a good time, and
Well, listen,
love it.
Well, what we've had here. So over the last, talking about people on the outside and people's perceptions of the business and stuff, in the last couple of weeks, we've been asking people to send over a few things that they'd like to know about the business. So to wind down today's episode,
have I got to choose?
We have, yeah. So
you open it.
Yeah, there's about 100 in here. So just give it a shake and take one out, and let's see what topics people would like to know. There's some funny ones in there, I think, and I think there's some brutal ones, but let's see what the first one is.
Oh, if you could change your career, what would you do?
Okay, so go on. If you could change your career, what would you do and why?
I don't actually know. I'd like to say I'd be like a doctor or something, but I'm scared of blood and needles, so I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you.
I don't know. Like, I don't actually know. I think that I'm so grounded in doing what I do now. I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else, but I don't know.
I reckon I think about 5 times a week. I'm going to give this up and I'm going to do something else.
See, I don't. Maybe I need to get to that phase. Maybe I will. I'm still a baby.
Yeah. Well, mine, I think.
I don't know.
What is it? What's the?
If you could change your career, what would you do?
I always wanted to be a DJ. I wanted to be a DJ for years, DJ Dan. But yeah,
Christ alive.
I know. I don't think that'd be good for me, mental health and all that. You know what I mean? Just being out all the time.
All the time.
But I think, before I got into the recruitment and stuff, I actually was looking at
being a milkman. Full-time milkman.
Back to the milkman, yeah. But no, I was looking at, I wanted to buy the college, the building that I actually went back into and teach the kids.
I think something where you help other people is what I'd do. I don't know what, but I'd like to help other people.
Okay.
It's a nice feeling.
I'll do the next one, and let's see what I pull out.
I'm nervous.
I know, it could be anything. What have we got here? Oh, this one's a good one. This one's come off. This is clearly being off of one of the Facebook ones. How do you define happiness?
Oh, do you know what happiness is for me? Controversial.
It doesn't have to be work related.
No, it's not.
I'd probably be sat in the house with
my cats.
Yeah. I'd be sat at home in your PJs.
Sat at home in my PJs with my cats.
Just pure content. Just
crazy cat lady.
Love it.
And that's me, and that's what I love.
Yeah. Well, happiness is something that I do struggle with, to be fair, because of the way I am.
Yeah.
But I reckon if I could define happiness, it'd just be a bit of contentness. Just that.
Isn't that the same thing?
Yeah,
happiness and contentness?
Yeah, no, it's not, because you can be content but just not be happy. But I think happiness, if I defined happiness, is just having a bit of a stillness.
Yeah.
Because the way the business is just so erratic all the time. I think happiness for me is just being assured, being calm, and being, knowing that everything's going okay.
Love that.
So I think that's a perfect way to end the episode on.
Happiness, you being calm. Happiness, me with my cats.
That's it.
I've only got 2. People can think I've got 50 running around the
cats
house.
Everywhere. One of them hoarders' houses.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Meg, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you. I'm here every episode, guys.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. That rounds up the end of the first episode. I've been the Parasite, and you've been nosy enough to tune in. See you next time.